Okay, so Google just released a massive upgrade to AIStudio, and now you can build real full stack applications within AIStudio. One of the biggest update was connecting Firebase for database and authentication, and you can now also connect to real world services by just bringing in the API keys. So I think this is going to massively upgrade the experience, and you can build real applications that you can ship. They also included what they're calling multiplayer experiences. So you can now create real-time multiplayer games within a collaborative space and share tools that connects users instantly. This new build experience is powered by anti-gravity agent. So you're going to be seeing that it's going to be much more effective at building your web apps. With these new features and capabilities, the Gemini AIStudio is really becoming a good alternative to services like Lovable and Replit if you want to stay within the Gemini ecosystem. I had early access to these features, so I'm going to quickly show you how to get started. Okay, so this is the new interface for the build feature within AIStudio. And if you are building on top of Gemini models, I would say this is probably the best place where you can build, because within AIStudio, the agent has a really good understanding of all the different Google APIs. Okay, so you're going to see this new option, add database and auth. So if your application needs authentication or database connectivity, which means you want to add full-fledged backend functionality, then you can just click on this. This is going to basically include database and authentication via Firebase inside your prompt that goes in. Now, for this demo, we're going to just create a text to image web app, but in the process, I'm going to show you the different capabilities. Now, if you go here, you can select your tech stack. You need to select the model. I would start with Gemini 3.1 Pro Preview, and then later on we can switch it to Gemini 3.1 Flash in order to save on tokens. You can also select your framework. We're going to just keep it to React. I am going to connect my API key so we don't run into any issues. Okay, so let me describe. Help me create text to image generator. The user provides text description. The system generates 4 different images. Let the user choose one of those images for further editing. Okay, I am happy with my prompt, so we're going to send this. Okay, so you're going to see that the rest of the experience is very similar to the previous build feature. However, this is using the anti-gravity agent under the hood now. Okay, so one thing, if you want to use the database and authentication, it's going to ask you to enable it. So right now we are using the free tier. I am happy with these options, so we're going to enable it here. And you can actually notice a difference. It's a lot more verbose and provides you a better feedback compared to what the previous build feature used to do. It would just go ahead and build the thing for you without really asking you for things. Okay, so the build is complete. It has added Firebase authentication and database. So it says added Google sign-in to securely identify users and provision a Firebase database to persist your generated images and prompts, right? So it is actually asking us to sign in with Google. Now, it has also integrated the Gemini 3.1 Flash image preview model. Let's actually sign in and see whether this is going to work. Okay, so it's asking us to select the API key because it's a paid service. Create an image of a llama wearing sunglasses. All right, let's see. Okay, so it's still fixing a couple of errors, and you can actually see that it has the Firebase set up there. Now, one other news. If you're a Firebase Studio user, Google is sunsetting it on March 22nd, 2027. And this is going to go to either Google AIStudio or Google Anti-Gravity. So keep that in mind if you're building within Firebase Studio. And it seems like Google is just trying to consolidate these different surfaces that they have, which makes sense. They have limited compute, and it's probably more appropriate business-wise to expose it to where people are actually using these models. Okay, so it seems like I was having some issues with the file size that it was storing on Firebase database. So now it came up with a solution that it's storing chunks rather than the full image, which is interesting. But at least we see the image outputs now, and we can also select an image, change the background to city skyscrapers. Okay, well, I'll just send another prompt and let's see if it's able to edit. Okay, nice. All right, so you actually see historical prompts as well, which is pretty neat. Now, I don't really like the UI, but here's a way quick tip. If you want to just create beautiful UIs with a single sentence change. Now, here's the prompt that I usually use if I don't really have an idea of what type of changes I want. Redesign this app as imagined by a billion-dollar design company. Okay, we're going to see how it redesigns the app. Now, while it's doing it, you can actually create your secret or environment variables as well. If you go to settings, in this case, our app needs the Gemini API key. If it needs some other API keys, so you can create those here in the secrets and it will persist, which is a great feature because this way you don't have to ask the users to provide their API keys, especially if you're going to be deploying this into a production system. Also, it keeps track of different versions, which is pretty neat. So you know exactly what happened. And if you need to roll back to a previous iteration, you can do that. There is also integrations, and you can still directly publish this. Or if you just want to share the app, you can do that as well by sharing it and then either make it public or restrict it to people who have access to this URL or link. Okay, awesome. So now this is a redesigned version. It's calling it Studio. We have our previous history because we connected Firebase Studio. So it's going to keep track of the historical data that we had. But let's actually generate a new image. Create an image of a llama skydiving, jumping out of a plane. Usually, like if I just want to create something awesome, I include this very simple prompt. The agent is going to come up with an iteration and then we can iterate on that. All right, okay, so here we have a few generations and this looks good, right? Now we can select this, provide a subsequent prompt to make any changes that you want. Now, a couple of other things. You can actually see the changes that was done. So you can see the diff, which is pretty great because you are not only vibe coding, but if you want to look at the code itself, you have that capability as well, right? Okay, so this was a quick overview of everything that was announced today. Now, I think as a free user, you can experiment with this. You would probably hit rate limits, but do check it out. It's actually a really nice redesign experience with some pretty awesome capabilities. And there is a lot more to come. Anyways, I hope you found this video useful. Thanks for watching. And as always, see you in the next one.